Okay, Mark meets Florian, the founder of Hi-ReS. Hi, Florian.
Hi.
Hi. Most people in digital will know who you are. However, for those that don't, can you give us a quick summary of your career?
Sure. I started out studying product design in Germany, and then got kind of disillusioned with that pretty quickly because I was going to become a car designer and realized that I didn't want to design rearview mirrors for the next 10 years. So I started playing with CG, just did a lot of stuff in Softimage and alias products. And then sort of through Alexandra, my wife, I got into a production company that were doing, it was like a record label and production company. They were doing a lot of commercials, and I just started working a lot more in visual effects. And I did that for a good 3 years until I started directing stuff myself. So we did a lot of music videos, a lot of commercial work, a lot of just show titles. And then at the same time I was making music, and I got signed to a label here in London and decided that it would be amazing to move to London to be closer to the label and closer to the people that I met. And then we moved here in 1999.
Were you in a band or?
Well, I was the band. It was just me.
Just you?
Just me, my laptop and my bass guitar. So I did that for a while, and literally the first year that we were here, we didn't really look for jobs or anything. We were just sort of playing around, and we were lucky enough to have kind of well-paid jobs before. So we had, we'd saved enough money to sort of survive here for a year. And I was still gigging, and I was DJing stuff, and then in the end we just sort of realised that we didn't really want to get a job in another company. It didn't feel like that was why we came here. We wanted to do something on our own, but we didn't really know what, and we just started experimenting with Flash at the time, because it allowed us to sort of take the music, and Alexandra comes from graphic design, and then my sort of film and animation background, and sort of put it all together into one thing. And that's when we started Hi-ReS, really, just as a sort of experimental sort of little thing between the two of us, working from our bedroom.
And what year was this? What year did the company start?
I would say 99. I mean, we never really put a date on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to even celebrate how old we are because we don't really know.
It's like a relationship. It's like girls always remember the day you first got together and the day relationship started, and guys never remember that.
No, I don't remember. I've got a vague idea when things took off. I mean, we did this one experimental site which was called Soul Bath, and it was just sort of us. Basically, it was us learning the technology and sort of getting to grips with things, but at the same time, we always had this fascination with things that don't work, like when sort of stoplights don't work or when live TV goes wrong. For us, that was always the stuff when it was most exciting. So we kind of started playing around with that and creating a website that kind of falls apart and that doesn't work the way that you expect it to work. And that, as part of that, we did this exhibition of banners, where we said, and this was in 2000, so .com bubble bursting in front of our eyes, and we were just thinking, why don't we use this sort of failing space of a banner ad and fill it with something that has sort of meaning, or that sells an idea rather than a product. And it was just an open invitation to anyone to sort of contribute stuff to it, and we basically created this sort of exhibition space where we showed all of them, and that got us a half-page article in the New York Times, which for us at the time was just insane. We didn't even know what hit us, and I think that sort of generated a lot of interest. And really, the first one was Darren Aronofsky, who asked us to do Requiem for a Dream because he'd seen Soul Bath and he liked some of the themes in that. The idea of decay and things falling apart and losing control. So we basically applied the same thing to the site that we did for his film. And then it just kind of took off from there. It was really surreal for us because, at the time we were still working from our bedroom, it was kind of strange. So then we got a space and, very slowly started hiring people. Like Andreas was the second person that we hired. And, this is 13 years on, he's still here.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I met Andreas, and obviously he was ex-Hyper Island.
Exactly.
And it seems like Hyper Island has always kind of played a part in really, Hi-ReS over the years?
I think it plays a role in the whole sort of digital agency landscape now. I think it's still one of the best schools, and I think the way that they educate their students is just so varied and so broad, and at the same time quite specialized. So you get people who are more. At the moment, we've got a creative strategist that comes from Hyper Island. We've had designers from Hyper Island. We've had motion people from Hyper Island. Andreas, who sort of came more from a sort of creative tech background. Like for us, it's always exciting. Like every year when sort of crew, I don't know what it is now, crew 15 or whatever, sort of comes around and sort of mails out the stuff. We're always sort of keen to sort of see what the new breed is sort of showing, and it's I think it's one of the best schools for sure.
Hi-ReS have seen a lot of changes in the digital industry over the years. How true have you stayed to the reason you set the company up?
It's a hard one, and you're asking at an interesting point, because I think we originally set it up as a playground. It was something for us to have fun and to really sort of have passion for the things that we do, and play with technology and play with ideas and play with graphics and music and sort of mashing it all up. And then obviously you start sort of growing up, and suddenly we're like 20 people here now, and I think sort of maybe 6-7 years ago, we made a conscious decision to sort of work less for agencies, for above-the-line agencies, on campaigns, and sort of look for longer relationships with clients. So that's when we started working, originally with Diesel, then we started working with Dolce & Gabbana, and then with Chanel. And it's all sort of, it all has its benefits and its sort of drawbacks. I think what we do realize is that it's probably sort of doing like platforms and sort of big sort of scale sites is probably not what we enjoy most. We like the sort of small little things, but at the same time, I don't really believe in just doing campaigns anymore. You do the big campaign, and then you sort of like wait 3 months, and then you measure it, and you sort of see did it work or did it not. We're much more interested in sort of iterations and sort of doing small tactical things and sort of small fun things, and sort of see how they work out almost on a weekly basis. And that's kind of the space where we're in now, where we're trying to sort of maneuver back into something where it's much more playful and much more spontaneous, and not so much tied to sort of like a big marketing plan. At the same time, we're sort of ramping up the idea of playing with creative technology more, and just sort of seeing where that leads, because that was always something that sort of really interested us. It's sort of fallen a little bit by the wayside, and then obviously we have Nanica at the same time, which is sort of totally on the other end of the spectrum, just playing with technology that
just R&D and innovation.
It's all about R&D, and we're just trying to marry those two things a little bit more and sort of find sort of a middle ground where we can actually apply those things again. And it's funny, we sort of made that decision at the beginning of the year, and just magically, without us actually doing a lot, it's sort of starting to come together, and we're doing jobs now that actually are way more true to how we started out than anything in the last 8 years.
Have you guys ever been approached from a larger ad agency in terms of buying you out?
Well, it's a two-part answer. One is yes, and the other one is, well, we did actually sell. So
to Syzygy Group.
But the thing that attracted us about Syzygy was that they weren't an above-the-line agency. They were a digital specialist, and what we were doing seemed to complement their offering. So they're really good at large-scale builds, and they do things in 23 languages, and they're super solid. Very German. Just like stuff that works. And then there's us who like stuff that doesn't work, just for the fun of it, and to look at things from a much more sort of artistic and creative level. And it seemed to complement it really well, and it really worked out for us as well. Like we sold in 2008, and we still retain shares because we still want to own part of Hi-ReS.
Do you now have shares in the Syzygy Group, or is it?
I don't know. I don't have any shares in the group, actually. No,
okay.
Not yet. That might happen at some point. But I think for us it was just, we were at a point where we felt we were too big to sort of do the really exciting small stuff that has no budget, and we were too small to do the really big projects. So I think for us it just felt right to sort of go with them rather than go with an ad agency where we would have to become much bigger, because we've always said we never want to be more than 20 people in one place. So that's, that all sort of played together, and I have to say it's been amazing. And I've talked to a lot of people in the industry who've gone through a similar thing. They sold, and you can really split it. There's probably 75% of the people aren't happy with how it worked out, and then there's a small percentage of people who will actually think it worked out brilliantly, and we're literally in the 2% where we're absolutely happy with it.
Yeah, I guess people sell for different reasons, don't they? People sell for financial reasons, to kind of cash out, and it's more of an exit plan. Some people, I think selling out is the wrong positioning. I think it's joining partnerships with a company or a group that has other strengths that you guys can benefit from. For you, client-wise and exposure, how's it affected you?
I mean, the first thing I would say is that I would be lying if I said that financial incentives don't play a role. I mean, we never ever got into design to make money. I mean, that to us was just an alien concept that was even possible. So, when that arises, then, why would you say no? But really for us it was more about sort of actually getting more expertise and more help from people that do stuff that we don't do. And, we feel even sort of like, especially within the London group of companies, which is Syzygy, Unique and us, we just complement each other really well, Unique being sort of a media and social company, it's just expertise that we don't really have, and we're really interested to see sort of, where we can overlap in our competences and just sort of create something that's really interesting. I think in terms of clients, the first big client win that we had was Jägermeister, and I just saw the client that actually hired us last week, and we were sort of reminiscing because this was in 2008, and he was like, you know what, it was a big gamble because it's kind of a weird construct between sort of like the solid German Syzygy and then you guys, but he just thought that could be really exciting. He was literally saying, when he said yes, he said, this is either going to be fantastic or it's going to go fantastically wrong. And, thank God they're still our clients. So, it's worked out really well. It's an amazing client relationship we have with them.
Do you guys position yourself as digital specialists? Because that word has changed a lot over the years. And you're creating more experiences.
It's a difficult one. We've gone back and forth on how to position ourselves. And I think in the end, you position yourselves through the work that you do, But we like to think of ourselves more as a creative agency, because we do things beyond sort of what would be considered digital. So we run a magazine. We're just starting to work on a new book. We do all the installation work and all the location-specific stuff with Electronica. And then we do a lot of web stuff, But I think what we're starting to see as well is that this idea of digital marketing is kind of dissolving, and it's more about its marketing. You don't need to break this down. It all needs to work together. You can't really say, it used to drive me mad, this idea of, here's our 60-second TV spot, and now let's make a website for it where we show the same spot that I've just seen on TV. It's like, why would I come to this website to see the same thing again? There needs to be sort of more around it. So I think that was always our approach, that we wanted to, take something that's existing, for example, a film, and sort of create an experience that is sort of very specific to the media that you use. So, if it's a website, it should be all about interaction and intrigue and sort of things that are unexpected and assisted discovery and finding things, rather than just showing a trailer.
I've been recruiting for you guys on and off for years, and one thing I would say is that the expectations here are really, really high. The attention to detail, the quality of design, and the thought behind everything is really strong. How have you managed to maintain that level of quality in talent?
I mean, it's again, you know, I was just talking to some people that used to work here, and again, we were sort of reminiscing over the kind of people that have worked here over the years, and I mean, we've just been really fortunate to work with all these fantastic people, you know, like, and we've had, you know, Carlos, who started Paper Vision, worked here. Then we had Mr. Doob, who, you know, is an absolute legend. Then, you know, we had Mike Tucker, who now works with Universal Everything and is absolutely fantastic. And we had fantastic designers, you know, Tommy Abervine and Mark Kramers, who all went on to do great things. Carl Burgess, who is an amazing director now. And it's just like, and it's so, like, for me, it's so much fun to see what these people go on to do. And I don't know, I think sometimes you just know if someone's right or not. And then I think it's a lot about sort of seeing that talent and trying to nurture it the best you can, and sort of trying to pull out of people what they're best at. What I always found interesting is that a lot of people that come here have started sort of doing things that previously they didn't do. You know, like a lot of people started doing 3D because that's something that is very close to my heart. So, you know, I've always been sort of keen to push people to try that. And a lot of people started making music as well. Like, I mean, I know everyone's a DJ, but like a lot of people, you know, have sort of started, you know, becoming quite sort of proficient musicians. And, you know, sort of just because I might have asked them, do you want to have a go at making a soundtrack for this? And then they just sort of sit down in the studio there and just sort of try it out. And I really, you know, I believe in sort of not being a complete specialist. I think this idea of a specialist for me is kind of an alien idea. Just because I think it breeds sameness, you know. It's sort of, if you know exactly what you're doing, then, you know, you're just going to repeat doing that over and over again. So sometimes you just have to push yourself and do something completely different.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's made Hi-ReS really special over the years, is that fluidity.
Yeah.
And you've not necessarily been driven too much by a client or its budget. It's more what you've wanted to do, and you try to shape a client around.
Yeah. You know, that's what we're always trying to do. You know, we're really keen to sort of also look at and listen to the client's needs and make sure we give them the best possible solution. But, you know, we like to challenge the clients a little bit and just tell them, you know, maybe you don't have to have, you know, a Facebook page and a YouTube. You know, maybe that's not the right channel for you. So, you know, it's kind of, we're just trying to keep it fun and sort of keep ourselves interested as well.
Roughly, how many people a year do you think apply to work with you guys directly?
Oh God,
I imagine it's quite a high number.
It's a high number, yeah. I would say designers probably about, maybe I would say on average I get about 3 people a day.
Seriously, from around the world?
From around the world, yeah. And then, you know, developers, the same thing, which I'm always surprised about because we're not really seen as people that sort of are very technical, but we've definitely sort of ramped up our development team in the last months. Yeah, maybe 1,200 or something.
Wow.
It's a lot.
So it really is particularly difficult to get a job here because the competition is so high. So many people.
And I'm obviously not always looking. I think the one thing that we've always done is if someone approaches us, or if we see someone that we think is really interesting, we don't worry much about whether we actually need someone at that particular
You'll find
moment.
a space for them.
Yeah, if we can afford it, we'll take them on, and we've done that. I mean, a lot of the people that work here are people that either I've approached because I like their work, or just, you know, people that came in and showed their work and we were just so blown away that we're just like, you know, we have to have this person, no matter what. And, you know, it also means that you sometimes, you know, we've employed people that come from very kind of inappropriate backgrounds for us. You know, I think we've never had a lot of people that have sort of digital experience. We've had people that, you know, were previously photographers and illustrators, and, you know,
or
musicians, or working just as artists, or, you know, like, yeah, or predominantly musicians, and, you know, and you just kind of try and find a way to sort of, I think you kind of fall in love with their minds, and then you sort of, and then, you know, what those minds manage to create, and then you kind of go from there and you put it together.
Right, let's move on to a quick fire round.
Okay.
Can line or D&AD pencil?
D&AD pencil.
Olympic gold medal or an Oscar?
Oscar.
Creatives or suits?
Creatives.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Ant or Deck?
Oh god, neither one.
Spice Girls or Girls Aloud?
Spice Girls.
Facebook or Twitter?
Twitter.
Favourite flavour crisps?
I don't eat crisps, but I like tortilla chips.
Okay. Take That or Westlife?
God, take that, I guess.
Degree or no degree?
It doesn't really matter.
The Only Way is Essex or Made in Chelsea?
I don't know either of them because I don't have a TV, so...
The most creative person you've ever worked with?
That would be unfair.
The brightest person you've ever worked with?
That would be unfair as well.
Just so many. Retained work or pitch work?
I like pitch work.
Web or mobile?
Well, if you put it like that, web.
Independent agencies or networked agencies?
Independent agencies.
Outsourced production or on-site production?
On-site.
Don Draper or Roger Sterling?
Who are they?
Well, if you don't have a TV, you won't know, will you? And lastly, twist or stick?
Twist.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.